Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving into something that can be a real game changer for so many of us, a toolkit for understanding and managing our feelings. It's called Emotional Regulation Basics. So let's get right into it.
First things first, let's talk about where this comes from. This whole program was put together by clinical counselor Terry Kern, and it's built on the incredible work of Dr. Marsha Linehan. She's the brilliant mind who created something called dialectical behavior therapy, or DBT. And the whole point of DBT? It's to help people build a life they actually feel is worth living.
So let me ask you something, and I want you to be honest with yourself. Have you ever felt like your emotions are in the driver's seat? You know, like they're just running the show and you're kind of just along for this wild, bumpy ride?
That feeling, that exact experience, is what we're tackling today. And it all boils down to this one key skill: emotional regulation. Put simply, it's about you learning to manage your emotional responses instead of having them manage you. Okay, but to really get a handle on it, we first have to understand the why. Why do emotions sometimes feel so incredibly big, so intense and out of control?
And here's the most important thing I want you to hear today. This is not a personal failing. It's not a character flaw. The science behind this actually points to an interaction between two major factors.
And that explanation has a name. It's called the biosocial model. So you've got two parts, right? On one side, you have the bio part. That's just our biological wiring. And on the other side, you have the social part, which is all about the environment we grew up in. Let's break that down.
So the bio piece, this just means that some of us are born with an emotional system that's a little more sensitive. You might react faster, feel things way more intensely, and maybe it takes you a lot longer to get back to feeling calm. Think of it like having a Ferrari engine inside you. It's incredibly powerful, but it's also super sensitive to every little bump in the road.
Now imagine you have that Ferrari engine and you put it in the social environment we talked about, what's called an invalidating environment. This is any place that constantly tells you your feelings are wrong. It dismisses them, misunderstands them, or even punishes you for having them. It sends you the message over and over that what you're feeling is too much.
And this is what happens. Those two things create this vicious cycle. The sensitive person feels a really big emotion. They try to express it. The environment shuts them down, telling them they're overreacting. So what do they do to feel heard? They have to get even louder. And the cycle just keeps spinning, getting more and more intense. It is absolutely exhausting.
But here's the good news. There is a way to break that cycle. And it's not about trying to get rid of your emotions. It's about building a brand new toolkit of skills so you can actually work with them.
The goal here is so refreshingly simple. All we're trying to do is increase the skills that actually help you, which then naturally starts to decrease the behaviors that are making life harder. It's practical, it makes sense, and it puts the power back in your hands.
So this toolkit is organized into 4 main sections, and you'll see how they all fit together. First, mindfulness. That's the foundation, right? It's about just noticing what's happening without judgment. Then you've got emotion regulation, the skills to actually influence your feelings. Distress tolerance is for those crisis moments, how to survive them without making things worse. And finally, interpersonal effectiveness helps you communicate what you need in your relationships. See, it's a complete package.
Now, here's where this whole thing gets super practical. All of those skills we just talked about, they fit into this really simple but incredibly powerful way of looking at any problem you're facing.
Seriously, think about it. When you are up against a painful situation or a really tough emotion, you truly have only 4 possible ways to respond. Just 4. And here they are. Option 1, you can solve the problem. Option 2, you can change how you feel about the problem. Option 3, you can just tolerate the problem, accepting it for right now. Now notice, those first 3 choices all require you to use skills from that toolkit. And then there's option 4, stay miserable. And that's the default. That's what happens when we don't use any skills at all. When you see it laid out like this, the choice becomes so much clearer, doesn't it?
So if we want to actually choose one of those first 3 paths, where do we even begin? Well, it starts with a really fundamental shift in how we think about ourselves and our own behavior.
This whole approach is built on a foundation of some serious compassion, and it starts with this core belief that in any given moment, people are doing the very best they can with the skills they have right now. Now, that's not an excuse. It's a starting point that takes all the shame and judgment out of the picture.
What this really means is that this whole process is non-judgmental. It's not about beating yourself up for the past. It's about learning new, more effective ways to move forward starting today.
But, and this is a big but, that compassion is balanced with accountability. This is the dialectic part of DBT, holding two seemingly opposite ideas as true at the same time. So yes, we are doing the best we can, and we also need to do better and try harder. You might not have caused all of your problems, but yep, you're the one who has to solve them anyway. And these new behaviors, they don't just happen. They have to be learned and practiced.
At the end of the day, all of this, the skills, the mindset shifts, it all serves one single purpose: to help you build a life that you genuinely feel is worth living. That whole journey just starts with one step. So looking back at that toolkit, the real question is, which skill would you want to learn first?